Hi, I'm David Shukoff, Director of Education at Manhattan Theater Club, and welcome to today's segment of MTC Education's online family drama playwriting workshop series. Today's topic is story and plot. Writing a play presents unique challenges. Unlike a novel, which the reader can set aside and pick up later, a play has to tell a complete and satisfying story in 2.5 hours tops. Also, you don't have the luxury of a narrator who can fill in the blanks and describe what the characters are thinking, feeling, and doing. The whole story in a play is told solely through dialogue and the interactions of the characters. Of all the narrative forms, drama is the most compressed. Take, for example, the question of backstory. How do you share the information the audience needs in order to understand the play's action? There are all sorts of strategies. Sometimes playwrights, even good ones, will cheat and use a narrator. Sometimes there's a newcomer character at the top of the play who needs to be brought up to speed. Masterful playwrights will get double use of backstory. They withhold key information until just the right moment and then reveal it for powerful dramatic effect. In Shakespeare's Macbeth, for example, the title character has been told by the three witches that no man of woman born can defeat him. Thinking himself invincible, Macbeth engages in a final decisive battle, during which he learns from Macduff, his chief adversary, that Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. That is to say, he had a sort of medieval C-section birth. Dismayed, Macbeth loses his will to fight and is defeated and killed. In a brilliant stroke, Shakespeare uses a piece of information from the distant past to fuel his play's outcome. This example also points out the difference between plot and story in a play. In a novel, in a novel about the Scottish tyrant, the author might have chosen to depict the birth of baby Macduff, with doctors and midwives plucking the infant out of his mother's womb, perhaps as she lay dying, medicine being what it was in those days. In Shakespeare's play, that incident, the earliest in the play's story, is not revealed, is not mentioned until the final critical moment in the play's action or plot. Here's an example from an MTC play, one that we've seen before, David Lindsay-Abaire's Good People, directed by Daniel Sullivan. It's a scene between Margaret, down on her luck and desperate for a job, and Mikey Dillon, her childhood friend from South Boston, now a successful doctor. Through a semi-intentional mix-up, Margaret has arrived at Mikey's suburban home for a party that's been canceled, where she's just met Mikey's wife, Kate, who stepped off stage for a moment. Frances McDormand plays Margaret, and Tate Donovan plays Mikey. Let's watch.
It's good you got out, right?
I guess.
Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't, though?
What do you mean?
Well, if you hadn't been, going off to UPenn, you think we would have stayed together?
Oh, Christ, Maggie, let's not get into this. She's coming right back.
You haven't wondered that?
Come on, it was a summer thing. Kids have those. I'm sure you had them after me.
Not really.
Only because you jumped in with Gobi right after I left, and that went on, right, for a long time.
That was just something I wondered. If you hadn't been going off to UPenn in September, if we would have kept going.
You broke up with me.
I know, because you were going away.
You broke up with me, Maggie.
I know. Remember how pretty I was, though?
I do.
You thought I was so pretty. And that's all it took for me to like you back.
It wasn't my irresistible charms.
Nope. You were charming, though.
Anyway, what's done is done. It all worked out.
It did?
You know what I meant.
Yeah, well, you made the right choice.
In the scene we just saw, not only was the audience learning new information that heightened the drama, so were the characters. Managing the relationship between what the audience knows and what the characters know is a critically important playwright's tool. Consider the following. A character says to his companion, "Would you like a drink?" And she replies, "Yes, please." And he pours her a glass. Pretty uninteresting, right? But what if the audience knows and she does not, that he's an assassin skilled in the use of poisons? All of a sudden, much more interesting, right? Then, what if we discover, after she's downed the poison drink, that she's known about the plot all along and has previously taken the antidote? You see how the manipulation of information creates dramatic interest. Let's go back to the example from Good People again, to take up another key concept, complication. We've seen previously how conflict is the engine of drama, arising from the central character's strong needs and the obstacles that they encounter. No obstacles, no drama. Too many obstacles and the drama comes screeching to a halt. The central conflict in Good People is between Margaret and Mikey. The new information we and they got in this scene we just saw further complicates their relationship, and we sense creates more obstacles to their getting what they each want. For Margaret, financial security; for Mikey, peace of mind and the preservation of his way of life. Let's step away from serious drama for a moment and consider a classic fairy tale, Cinderella. There we'll find all the elements that we've been discussing in this series. Charged circumstances. Cinderella is being tyrannized by her wicked stepsisters and her stepmother. Backstory, right? How did Cinderella get into this situation? Inciting incident. The announcement of the prince's ball and his intention to marry. High stakes. Then the first complication or obstacle. Cinderella is not allowed to go. Conflict. All seems lost, but new complication. The fairy godmother arrives in the nick of time. New complication and obstacle. Cinderella gets to go to the ball, but she has a midnight curfew, and so on. Which brings us to today's playwriting challenge. Collectively or individually, I want you to dramatize a fairy tale for an audience who does not know the story. Include all of the story elements, but make your play as short as possible. Decide, therefore, on which elements from the story you're going to dramatize, you're going to show, and which will become part of the backstory and exposition. And here's an important tip. Don't have your characters telling other characters stuff they already know. Don't have your stepmother telling Cinderella that her parents are dead. She's all too aware of that. The audience needs to know that, but Cinderella presumably does not. Use only dialogue. No narrators allowed. Okay? And use a story with human characters, not animal fables like the Three Little Pigs. And if you're looking for something unusual, rather than the classic fairy tales, the internet is full of non-traditional folk and fairy tales. We've included some links to some in the PDFs that accompany this video. Create character profiles using the forms that accompany the video in the PDFs. Maybe improvise the play on its feet before you start to write, or maybe you want to make this sort of a competition where you're each working on it individually and comparing the results. Whose version was the shortest? Was it also the most complete and the clearest? How did you handle plot and story, and so on? As always, please save your plays to your family drama folder and share it with us. Share your plays with us, sending it to your Instagram and tagging us at MTC_NYC, or email to us at ed@mtc-nyc.org. Have fun with your fairy folktale plays, and see you next time when our topic will be Points of No Return.